How's everybody doing? And thanks for tuning into Wicked Warnings, your number one source for construction and emergency safety strobe lighting and equipment for cars, vans, buses, bicycles, tricycles, and very nice 2020 GMC Sierras, just like what we're looking at here. Now, this happens to be a 2500 with the AT4 HD package. So it'll get you a lot of nice things with that. What are you looking at in the grill there? Well, first thing you'll probably notice is the Plow shoes if we pan down a little bit. So this is a Plow truck. Wanted some grill lighting requested. So we're trying to keep it on the outside edges there. And we used the VHB quick mount 3-inch mpower in amber, and I did have to double up the VHB. So we also used a little bit of our own VHB. We cut a similar shape, and double thickness allowed us to mount it right there on the grill. And you'll see what I mean when you get the light in hand about how it fits into the grill. 2 layers of VHB, heat them up nice, squish it in there real good with the primer, and it's locked in. Keeping it out on the edges like that, a little bit of an angle, hopefully doesn't interfere with the headache rack of the Plow at all for visibility. I think the headache rack of the Plow is going to come kind of right down the middle, and the headlights are going to be to the left and right of the G and the C. So hopefully these lights are still visible, even with the blade work. Now, as I bring the camera up, you're going to notice the white forward-facing mirror lights on our auto flasher module. They're alternating in a triple flash, and that's a fairly easy install. It's just 2 wires that you snip right at the body control module on these trucks under the steering wheel. So put a male-female spade terminal on it, so you can always put it back to factory if you'd like. And you can get these white forward-facing mirror lights. As long as your truck is equipped with them, you can get those flashing with our auto flasher kit, and it is, again, a wire cut. Now, above that, you'll notice the 3-piece roof light. That is also another wire cut kit at this time for the roof lights. We have plug and play coming soon for that. I like to flash all 3 as one because it gives it a little more punch. Customer wanted those roof lights flashing, and when you split it up from the middle to the outside and only the 2 little outsides are coming on, you really don't notice the 2 small outsides as much as you notice all of it coming on as one like this. That's my personal opinion. If you have a different one, you can wire it either way. The kit comes with whatever you need to do both options. So as we raise up, you'll notice firstly the cab commander on the Magnum Rack, the commander package. Those are 2 beacons that come with the commander package, and as we go up even higher, you'll notice that 23-inch Whelen LED bar. Now, we custom mounted that right on top of the Magnum Rack using one of the T-bolts provided from the 2 of the T-bolts provided from the Magnum Rack and a little spacer. So that's our full front warning package on this truck. As we come around and to the side of the truck, you'll notice that we have our Lin 6 in amber on an alternate flash, basically a side-by-side flash, a split pattern, and that's a 75, a triple flash basically, 75 FPM. It's just the split where it alternates on itself. I did that so that light basically never turns off. This is a Plow truck. It's not doing long distance warning. All the warning that it's going on is coming right from within 500 feet. So that split pattern is going to work well. It's going to keep that front footstep in the bed there illuminated with a nice alternate flashing amber the entire time he's working. And you can see the Magnum Rack above that. Now that's a low pro Magnum Rack again with the Commander package. Comes with those white work lights and the beacons, and we added the 23-inch mini light bar to it. All right, as we get closer around the back, you'll notice a Lin 6 in the rear bumper as well, facing backwards. I really like using these step pockets because as you can see on the rear one, the light really bounces all around. So even though that light is facing backwards, it bounces off the whole step and makes a pretty good side warning also. Above that, you're going to notice the red parking ring. Now that's the parking circuit in that LED tail light is flashing, and it's flashing in conjunction with the fender light. Now that's an effect of our plug and play tail light flasher for the auto flasher kit on the rear of this truck. Now the rear, the tail light and the reverse light flashers we manufacture on plug and play, so they go right under the frame connector underneath by the bumper. And one side effect of that on the Sierras or the higher trims, like Denali's that have the fender lights, is when you use the tail light, the red tail light, you'll also get the fender for free. So because it's in the same circuitry. So being a Plow truck, that was a nice little add-on because as he's backing out into traffic, he has quite a bit of flashing going on in the back of this truck, which is always the risky spot for Plow truck drivers is when they're backing out perpendicular to the traffic. Alrighty, as we're coming around here to the side of the truck, you can see those LED work lights, which are provided in the Magnum Commander package, as well as the 6x2 oval warning lights that are next to the additional stop-turn tails that are up high. Now, you might notice that the parking circuit on the tail lights on the bottom is indeed flashing, which is hard to see because I have the four-ways on now just to show you that the upper lights are also braking signal. Let me turn off the four-ways. And what I wanted to show you was this. The tail light on the truck, the red tail light ring, is flashing, but the Magnum Rack tail light is not. That's directly related to where you put the plug and play, either before or after the Magnum Rack feed. We put it this way because I didn't see a need to flash the red dim tail light in the Magnum Rack along with the amber light right next to it that's already flashing. However, if you just switched around the plug and play for the Magnum Rack and our kit, you'd end up with the red tail light flashing as well as the reverse light flashing in the Magnum Rack. But like I said, the amber's right next to it. I didn't think that was, we didn't want to do that, so I just put it in this way. As we come straight back, you can see how those Lin 6s in the lower step really shine. They go great with the white LED reverse light factory auto flasher kit. And as I said, you can get this kit. This kit right here is two kits. It's a parking red parking ring and a reverse kit built together to make this X pattern. That's what we did. So if you want exactly this, communicate that to us on your order. Make sure you put a note on the order or an email following it that says, this is what I want, this is what I saw, and we'll build it just like this. If you want to change up the pattern, you can. If you want only the reverse kit, you can do that too. Again, this is two kits in the back, the parking and reverse built together as one. You can choose one or the other. It really doesn't matter. Whatever you build, whatever you like. Now, this Commander package also has an LED light bar in the center that's reverse activated. That's set up that way from Magnum, so we didn't modify that. However, if you want to modify that, you could certainly rewire the Magnum Rack. But when you add the 12-inch or 10-inch dual row reverse light, it basically comes on in reverse, and that will not flash because the way we did this as well, that upper light is not flashing. Even if the strobes are on, you're not going to get flashing on that upper light because of how we wired it into the, like I said, the order of the plug and plays. Alrighty, take you inside here. Truck didn't have factory auxiliaries. Thought about adding them, kind of didn't have time to wait on a dealer to get them. However, you could cut them in right here if you wanted and, do that very easily. What we did instead is we added this Mini 6 switch, and I've done this on a couple of different trucks, and it really doesn't have much visible damage at all. What we do is we pilot a hole a little bit behind this trim. You kind of pry this trim back, and you can put your pilot hole for these two screws in the crack there. And I'll tell you what, if you take it all off of there, you really don't even see them. They almost disappear. And we ran the wiring right here in the vent, and we drill a little hole up from the bottom through that vent for our wiring. And that way this whole switch can be removed and not have a big scar on the dashboard. And once you take this out, you have plenty of room to get the wiring back in there, and you take the side panel off, and there's power right here, or you can go forward for power to the battery if you want. If you prefer that, you can get power right out of the battery. Running underneath the dashboard, you can go through the factory grommet where the auxiliary switch kit would go, or you can drill a hole where we've shown in many other GM videos where to drill the hole. Basically, I'll point it out for you. If you are going to drill, where we like to drill the holes in these is basically like right here, right underneath this. That's where we've gone through before without a problem. It's a little tricky, but it works. Or you can go through the factory grommet for the auxiliaries, which is what we did. So that's the Mini 6, the most current version, and here's what we did with our switches. Go ahead and that's just a camera picking it up like that. It doesn't actually strobe. And then we'll do that. There you go. Light bar, front, grille, and then rear work light. And we got a spare here, so he can add in and do a little bit more. Backlit in red, looks real sharp. So that's what we did for the switching. So about the mounting, the Lin 6s in the back is super easy. I know you guys are probably wanting to see the grill here. So this is what I was talking about with the VHB. Basically, the mpower is just a touch bigger than the grill. You can see here than the grill insert. So if you double up that VHP, get it nice and warm and real sticky, put your primer behind it, you can get it to mount right like that. And the double thick VHP is really not going to go anywhere. When done nice, warm it up. And then what I like to do also is after they've ran for about 5 or 10 minutes, just kind of lay your hand flat and just give them a nice 30-second long good hold. And that really sets that tape. And I tell you, here in Chicago, we're the salt capital of the world, and this has been a good mount. So if you have a grill like this for the GMC, go ahead and utilize that mount if you like. And we have an amber white light, so you could do amber white or just amber like we did here. All right, well, if you're still watching, thank you very much. Drop a comment or a like right about now, and we're going to go through the technical part of the video right now and tell you exactly what we're getting in the package and how I'm going to kind of do it. Because this is a little bit of a tricky build. I'm not going to have the Magnum Rack offered just yet because it was a special order. So, we're going to go through what is going to be in this package and everything else. If you really want it, we might be able to get it for you, but Magnum Racks are a bit pricey to ship. So get in touch with us and we can see what we could do about getting you one. But as of right now, this is what this package is going to include. So front to back, first thing is going to be the 4 amber 3-inch mpowers. We're going to put a primer 94 package in there as well as some 3M tape. As I said, you're going to need to trim that tape around and double up the thickness if you like the mount that we used right there. Eventually, I may end up getting some mpower stickies pre-stamped, but for now we're just going to have the bulk 3M roll, exactly what I did. Just trim it with scissors and do your best job. It works out very well. We're also going to put some 22-5 wire in there. We're going to go 30 feet of 22.5. That's going to allow you to extend those. If you happen to have an amber white one, you'll have all functions, but the 22.5 is a great wire to extend the mpowers. I like to extend all 4 of them, give them some extra slack in case that grill needs to come out. And then somewhere along the fender or inside all the way under the dash, you can make your connections for synchronization and set your patterns and all the other stuff. But this way, if they have to pull the grill, leave them some wire, and that way they don't have to screw with the lights or the connections or anything. If you make it all nice and sealed up, watertight, you will have an issue. Pull the grill out, set it down, you'll have the extra wire to do so. Right behind that, we have a wire-in auto flasher kit for the white mirror lights. It's going to wire into the BCM. That kit's been tried and true for quite a number of years. Installs easily right underneath the steering wheel. Comes with everything that you need. Above it, the roof light kit. Same deal. It's a wire-in kit. Driver's A-pillar behind the grab handle. Super easy to put in and comes with everything that you need right there. Under the hood, what you don't see is you're going to get a fuse kit, and you're going to get some 16-2, and that's going to run from the fuse by the battery all the way into your switch, your Mini 6, and it's going to feed your switch. The Mini 6 maximum current is 13 amps. Keep that in mind, 13 amps. This entire system, everything you see, everything front to back, is drawing about 7. Just fun fact, draws about 7 amps with everything on, and the floodlight. So, tested, ran it for quite a while, wanted to fuse accordingly, so that's what I did. But 16.2 is going to run in, fuse kit's going to go at the battery, so it's going to feed your Mini 6 switch. You're also going to get a Mini 6 switch. That way you can turn all this stuff on and off. Now say you already have factory switches. Wonderful. You don't need the Mini 6 switch. You don't need the fuse kit. You don't really need the 16.2. Feel free to delete that if you like. Working backwards, we're going to have a 23-inch mini bar. Now, there's no mount for that mini bar. Whether you want it or not, it's up to you. You can always exit out of the cart. However, the mini bar is going to be included, permanent mount, and I'm going to go on the assumption that you're getting your own back rack, or you already have this back rack or something of that nature. So the mini bar, because we stock it and it's here as part of the package, and I'm going to give you a 30-foot run of 18.5 to extend that mini bar. Now it's 18.5 and the mini bar only has 3 wires. No big deal. It leaves you 2 extra wires for something else on the back rack if you'd like, possibly work lights or whatever. So you'll get a 30-foot run of 18.5 in that mini bar. And if you want a different style of mount, depending on the truck that you have, we have Akari drill-free mounts you could get without the back rack, and that mini bar would fit nicely on there. So that back rack, the beacons, the work lights, the strobing little ovals that were in it, it's all ordered by Magnum. It's all one package. It's called the Commander package on the Magnum Rack. Not included. Very clear, not included. So working down from there, Lin 6. We've got 4 Lin 6s actually, 2 in the front 2 steps and 2 in the rear 2 steps. Yeah, here you can see them a little more clearly. Now, I shut the light bar off because I had that switched separately. You can switch this any way you like. I left those oval grommet mounts in the Magnum Rack switched on the rear switch, which is running the perimeter. I did that to allow the driver to turn off the beacons and light bar because, again, sometimes that stuff drives you nuts after hours and hours. So we're also going to give you the plug-and-play dual kit in the rear. It's going to be reverse and tail made up just like this, unless you order something different, and it's going to plug and play in the back and give you this same look with the fender lights and everything in the back of your Sierra. Now, if you don't want the tail portion, just delete the tail kit. Like I said earlier, it's 2 kits, a tail light kit and a reverse kit. If you'd rather have only the white reverse, no problem. Delete the tail. If you'd rather have only the red tail, no problem. Delete the reverse. It's your world. Have it your way, right? So now, talking about those Lin 6s and how we're going to wire them, I'm going to give you 2 more lengths of 18.5. Okay, your auto flasher kit for the reverse or tail is going to come with its own 18.5, but we're going to use the 30-foot piece of 18.5 to go from your switch right down and out the driver's footwell there. There's a rubber grommet right underneath the driver's left foot. And drop out there, and we're going to go to the driver's the forward driver Lin 6 in front of the driver's rear wheel. There we're going to connect up, and we're going to bounce from there to the rear driver's side bumper. Okay, that's one 30-foot piece. Then we're going to take the 15-foot piece I'm also going to include, and we're going to go from the driver's side bumper over to the passenger bumper, and then jump from there over the wheel well right to the passenger front foot step. Now, it's basically just going to make one big loop. You'll be able to synchronize through. You'll be able to set this pattern if you like, or an alternating pattern. If you would prefer the entire light in the bumper to alternate left, right, you'll be able to do that with the 18.5 wire. That's why I'm going to give you a 30-foot piece and a 15-foot piece of 18.5 wire to run these Lin 6s. And as I said, route it the way that I just did. You'll also run the auto flasher wiring forward along the driver's side up through the footwell to your switch. Fairly easy. The Magnum Rack comes with its own harness. Drop it right down in between the cab and the bed and run it forward. Not a lot to say there, and we already talked about that the 23-inch light bar and what you're going to get with that. Speaking on this Mini 6 install, I'm also going to include a 24-inch color-coded wire-for-wire extension harness, because as much as I love that Mini 6 switch, the wires that it comes with are just a little bit short. So we're going to put a 24-inch kit in there to extend those wires nicely, so you got a lot of room to work with them behind that panel, as I showed earlier, and it'll make your job much easier. So that's one more item we're going to put in there. I'm also going to put in a 3/4 grommet, so that way if you drill the firewall, you'll get that 3/4 grommet for that. An accessory pack, which is going to have some heat shrink and connectors and all kinds of other stuff for you. And I think that's going to be it. So this was a big build, big long video, a lot of stuff. Moral of the story is you don't need to take it all. If you like bits and pieces of this truck, then build that kit accordingly. If you have any questions, please email the link to exactly this video, this build, and ask away. We'll try to help you out. But hopefully you're still watching. Hopefully you stuck with me for the whole video. If you did, drop a comment and say, yeah, we were here till 18 minutes and we're still listening. It's flattering if you are. If you're watching me in 2x speed, I hope it sounds funny like some kind of chipmunk. So thanks again for watching, guys. This is Wicked Warnings, your #1 source for construction and emergency safety strobe lighting and equipment. And you're looking at a beautiful 2020 GMC Sierra 2500 AT4 heavy duty with a whole mess of stuff on it. See you guys on the next video.